Dear students, myself Dr. Fatima Sultana, Associate Professor in Department of Zoology, JDB Government Girls College, Kota. Today I am going to take the topic concept of biodiversity. What is biodiversity? We all know that the species which are found in variety, that is, biodiversity is the variability among living organisms from all sources, including terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystems, and the ecological complexes of which they are part. This include diversity within species, between species, and of ecosystem. Biodiversity forms the foundation of the vast array of ecosystem services that critically contribute to human well-being. Previously, I have taken your topic ecosystem services, in which I have told you what are the various services which human being is using from this ecosystem. So, biodiversity is important in human managed as well as natural ecosystems. It is the foundation of ecosystem services to which human well being is intimately linked. There are 34 biodiversity hotspots. This was previously identified by the scientist Norman Myers, but now they are 36. Biodiversity hotspots are defined as regions where exceptional concentrations of endemic species are undergoing an exceptional loss of habitat. Now, what are endemic species? Endemic species are those species which occur in a small region and nowhere else on Earth. Endemic species can be vertebrates, invertebrates, plants, or even microorganisms. And these endemic species are very vulnerable to human encroachment because of their limited range. As I have told that these are the species which are found only in a small region and they are not found anywhere else on the earth. So we know that they have very limited range. Now any type of encroachment or human disaster can impact or affect the condition of that endemic species. They may lose the habitat or their population may reduce. So in one or the other way, human encroachment will affect the endemic species. The concept of biodiversity hotspots was developed by Norman Myers in 1988. He was identifying the tropical forest. He found that the in the tropical forest, the plant species as well as the habitat was losing. That is, it was reducing. So at that time, he identified 34 biodiversity hotspots in the whole world. Now, IUCN prepares Red Data Book. IUCN is International Union for Conservation of Nature. This maintains all the threatened species and plants and animals in this Red Data Book. So there are 34 areas around the world which are qualified as biodiversity hotspots. These hotspots represent only 2.3% of total Earth's land surface. The area which is conserved in this biodiversity hotspot is actually only 2.3% when there are 34 hotspot areas. Now, when there are 36, but still the percentage is only 2.4% of the total Earth's land surface. Now, what are the criteria to qualify for being a biodiversity hotspot? There are two strict criteria to qualify as biodiversity hotspot. It must have at least 1,500 vascular plants as endemics, which are to say it must have a high percentage of plant life found nowhere else on the planet. A hotspot, in other words, is irreplaceable. Now, what are the vascular plants? Vascular plants are those plants which are having xylem and phloem, and they transport food from stem to roots and water from roots to leaves, etc. So, why we are telling that there should be high percentage of plant life? Because we all know that plants are the only producers, and wherever there is one big tree, we see number of organisms, number of animals will be attracted to that tree. For example, insects, birds, or underlying microorganisms, they are all attracted. So when the percentage of plant life will be high, definitely the number of animals will be high in that area. And this hotspot, in other words, is irreplaceable. It cannot be replaced by any other plant species, or the endemic species cannot be replaceable. It must have 30% or less of its original natural vegetation. In other words, it must be threatened. Now, the hotspot is identified where 70% of the natural vegetation has been lost and threatened. So, that will be identified as the biodiversity hotspot for conservation. Now, biodiversity can be conserved in two ways: first, in situ, and second, in ex situ. In situ conservation involves in the maintenance of biodiversity rich area in its natural form, whereas in ex situ conservation the endangered species are kept in a specially protected area which is separated from its natural habitat region. In my next slides I will tell you in detail. Now in India the hotspot areas are four hotspots areas are identified in India. These are the Himalayas, which you can see in the orange color, the Indo-Burman region in blue color, the Western Ghats green color, and the Sunda lands near this Nicobar Islands. You can see this in the square. The Sunda Islands are identified. These are the biodiversity hotspots of India. Now, the decline in vertebrate population, we can see that terrestrial mammals have declined to 38%, and marine have been reduced to 36%. We have lost 81% of freshwater animals. Now, why is biodiversity important? Organisms are interdependent. We all know that all organisms are interdependent, and a loss of a species will affect other species. We know we have already gone through the food chain, importance of food chain and food web, and we know one even one animal, if it is reduced or it is finished or wiped off, or you can say extinct from the from the food chain, so definitely we can see that there is impact on some other animal. Biodiversity, it brings stability to the area. Removal of a species affects the stability of others, and it provides resources to man. As I had told you, it gives ecosystem services, and that may be in the form of food and medicine. The term biodiversity was first coined by Walter G. Rosen in 1986. The biosphere comprises of a complex collection of innumerable organisms known as biodiversity, which constitute the vital life support for survival of human race. Now, biological diversity, it is the abbreviated form which we call as biodiversity. It represents the sum total of various life forms such as unicellular fungi, protozoa, bacteria, and multicellular organisms such as plants, fishes, and mammals at various biological levels, including genes, habitats, and ecosystem. So, there are three types of biodiversity: diversity of species, diversity of ecosystems, diversity of genes. In species, you can see the different species, there's a lot of diversity over there, and even in ecosystem you can see marine ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. So there are different types of diversity in ecosystem also, and within the same animal there is a diversity of genes. For example, in this dogs, you can see there are number of variety of species in this particular animal dog. So diversity of genes is also biodiversity, one type of biodiversity. What are threatened endangered species? Threatened endangered species are those which are in now in very less number. That is, their population is very small, and they need critical conservation action to be taken place. For example, Asiatic lion. We all know that they are found only in the Gir forest, the protected area, which is Gir forest in Gujarat. Similarly, rhinoceros in Kaziranga, elephants in Periyar. So these are the protected areas which are conserving these threatened animals. And one important is the tiger. Tiger project has been started. Similarly, projects have been implemented for the conservation of rhinoceros and elephants. And now we all are hearing about the Indian bustard. They are found in the Jaisalmer region of Rajasthan. So conservation actions are being taken place so that this bird can be conserved. Now, what are the threats to biodiversity? These are natural causes and anthropogenic causes. Natural causes are that which are naturally coming, that is, the narrow geographical area, low population of that particular endemic species, or low breeding rate, natural disasters like floods, storms, etc. Now, anthropogenic causes are those which are being made by man, that is, habitat modification. For urbanization and industrialization, forests are being cut. So, in this way, the habitat is lost. Overexploitation of selected species. If for a particular species, for example, fishes are being eaten. So, if overexploitation is taking place, that species will be wiped. Innovation of exotic species. Where there are endemic species, if some exotic species are introduced over there, so that will compete with that endemic species and it will destroy. We know very well what lantana is doing in the forest. Bubble is replacing the very good forest. Pollution, hunting, global warming and climatic change, agriculture. For agriculture, the land is being occupied, the trees are cut, uh, deforestation is being done, and the dominous effect, that is the various storms and all. Now, conservation of biodiversity. In this, as I have told you, in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. In situ, it is being done naturally. For example, in this national parks and tiger reserves. Whereas ex situ, they are kept in zoos or the gene banks or pollen bank. The pollens of the plants are being preserved. DNA is preserved. So this all comes under ex situ conservation. Restoration of biodiversity, imparting environmental education, enacting, strengthening, and enforcing environmental legislation, population control, reviewing the agriculture practice, controlling urbanization, conservation through biotechnology. These are all the type which will help in the conservation of biodiversity. Now, as I have told you, there are 36 biodiversity hotspots. I will not name each and every. The number is mentioned in front of the name. That is, for example, the North and Central America. In this, eighth number of hotspot is California Floristic Province. The Caribbean, South America, Europe, Africa, in which this Cape Floristic region, Horn Africa, Succulent Karoo, the 13th number hotspot. These are the numbers which are being mentioned. You can see and go through and learn it, that which hotspot region comes under which continent, which country. Central Asia, Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, we can see the Eastern Himalaya, which is named 32 number of hotspot biodiversity region. Indo-Burma, India and Myanmar is given 19th number. Western Ghats and Sri Lanka 21. Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific. These are mentioned here. Valencia, we all know that where is the Valles line present. So definitely this hotspot, Valencia, may be there. We can see in the map. East Asia, in which Japan and mountains of Southwest China. West Asia and biodiversity hotspots in India. Which are these? These are the Himalayas, the Indo-Burma, Sundalands, and Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. Himalayas, the Himalayan region, entire Himalayan region, the area that is falling in Pakistan, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, China, and Myanmar. Indo-Burma includes entire northeastern India except Assam and Andaman group of islands. These are not included in this Indo-Burma hotspot. Sundalands, this includes Nicobar groups of islands in which Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Borneo, and Philippines come under this category. Western Ghats and Sri Lanka includes entire Western Ghat. So we see that India has very good biodiversity hotspots. That is why it is very important. Now there is a quiz for you all. You have to identify and mark all the biodiversity hotspots in the world map. Take different images of this world map and mark each and every all 36 biodiversity areas which I have given previously in the list, and the numbers are mentioned in that. Identify that locations in the continents and the countries and give it. For example, this Sundalands. Sundalands I have mentioned here. This is the biodiversity hotspot. Similarly, you have to mention all other hotspots, all 36 hotspots. Thank you so much.